Good evening and welcome everybody along to what is the Australian Grand Prix in WOR. I am joined by an old racer here in Consult Tier 1 and that is Nail. And Nail, welcome along for this one. It's great to have you for some expert analysis in the commentary box with me for this one.
Hello everyone. I'm very, very excited first of all to be here. Commentate on a tier I've already driven and won, in fact. So yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm really, really excited for this one.
It's great to have a driver of your caliber alongside us. It was I mentioned when I found out that you were commentator, it felt like only 5 minutes or not long ago that we were saying about I was commentating of you winning the race in Monaco, and now you're here alongside me. But just quick thoughts before we get into qualifying for the standings as they are. Silo has taken the championship lead away from his Shazoo Caesar Igniter compatriot by 2 points after a poor showing last time from Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk not having the best races at all. Silo taking his second win in a row then. The big mystery here though, can he continue that form and take another potential win here in Australia? That's the thing that everyone will be watching for, I think.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. There is some very good drivers out there. Tony Reich and Kevin Zunneberg on their days and Volakongan, who seems to have got a little bit of a resurgence of things through all this. And Volakongan, Vola's in there, 22 points behind, not too far away. I know we're at a stage in the season where it's coming more of a business end, or a second half of the season, 5 rounds to go, so they want to be able to push on and get things sorted quickly. But let's go on board with the driver, I suppose, of the hour, and that is Shazoo Cedar Igniter Silo, who's coming into this turn 30. The adjustments, it's a long time ago, 2021 since the track has adjusted, but how do you find that these tracks, because of the adjustment, or this track in particular, how is it now in comparison to what it used to be?
Well, first of all, it feels like you can push a lot more. Just on mine anyway, you can push a lot more with obviously these corners that have opened up. You could probably take also more risky moves, obviously the chicane on the back straight being removed, which enables more overtaking opportunities into what's now turn 9 for the left-right chicane, or complex, we'll say. And obviously the corner now in, I think it's turn 6, which Silo's just going through now, obviously you can be so much more confident, and that completely changes also how you make your setup, obviously, because you can make something that's more, you can push more on it, rather than just being more conservative with the chicanes and with corners being tighter as well.
And it's all looking purple for the time being for Silo, but we do believe that's just because it's the first lap out there and it's a good banker lap for Silo. And obviously Silo wants to take as much as possible, much momentum as possible. 2 wins on the bounce. Probably wants a pole position here, and being on pole position, unlike in Mexico last time out, it's not as horrible coming towards turn 1 as Mexico is, as there is the time to beat. It's a 14.5 to start off with. Let's see. I'm going to go on board with Dirk to see what they can do to retaliate in kind of fashion, but they've already invalidated. So the pressure hitting Dirk quite early on. Nico Castronovo coming through turns 6 and 7 now. Let's see what they can do through the lap and how much time, or whether they can recapture the form that they had at the beginning of the season.
Yep, certainly. Silo with a very, very strong banker, I'll be honest. That's going to be even tough to beat at the end, maybe for some, definitely. Maybe such as Nico Castronovo, who I've spoken to him, he said he was not very confident into this race day. He was saying he's not confident at all in quali, and he's going to see what he can do. Heading down now into this corner. I forgot the corner number of. Oh, I know this one though. It's the final corner, and out. Not a lot of battery, to be honest. And they cross the line. What is it going to be? 15-1. Yeah, he was yeah, saying not confident at all. It's 5/10 off. Silo, it's not an ideal banker for him.
Doesn't look positive, unfortunately, for the VNT driver, as we go on board with Monza, who goes into the pits. So no increase in lap time there. Venom has invalidated on their lap. Silver Rocks has invalidated. Dirk looks like they're going pretty slowly through here. Luca coming through the final 2 corners and going into the pits. Is there anyone that's actually on a lap time? Volokongen's going to be starting a lap, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for the time being through all this. There does maybe is that Fanny Spinoda coming across the line, the VNT driver, and it's 15.133, very close to their teammate Nico, but again, not the most ideal of banker laps for the two of them.
Now they'll be looking certainly to improve on that, at least get into the 14s, maybe 14.7, 14.6s to challenge, maybe for a top 10 or top 8. But as you're saying, not many people on the lap, a lot of people invalidated. It's kind of surprising to me in a way, because it's not actually that, difficult to invalidate. I mean, 7 people have set a lap time. That's not a lot at all. So I'm a bit surprised from that, but normally we should see maybe now in the second run people taking it a bit easier. Those who have a lap time on the board, especially like Silo and Tony, they'll be going to try and improve on that lap time. But others, the 12 others, or 13, I don't know, I can't count. But others will be, they'll be more conservative, let's just say, and they might set slower times than they would like.
We've just seen a big mistake from Volokongen at turn 3. Absolutely missed the braking zone. I'm not sure. Just went straight on at turn 3. And, damaged front wing. And we'll be going into the pits for that. But it's interesting for you to say. But, yeah, 7 drivers. Only 7 drivers setting a lap time. It's not ideal. When you okay, it's better than the last run of lap that we're going to get in qualifying, and there's only 7 drivers coming through. But this is quite unheard of, to have the first runs with only 7 drivers setting a lap time. Misha is just about to start their second run. They have set a time on the board though. One of only 7 drivers, and I can't believe that's the stat right now.
Yeah. So now Misha going a bit early actually for the second run. Don't think he'll be doing 4 runs with the time he's got left, but absolutely going for it though. On this lap, he's going right up to the grass. See the sector 1 split. He's down. Not just a little bit down. He's almost a 10. Let's say that, but. He'll be looking to attack these last sector once he crosses the middle sector split. But now he's he's getting a bunch of time there. It's 10th up now on his personal best. We'll put him with the Williams and maybe VNT lot, who are 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The only VNT, I believe, on the grid. Yep. So all VNTs, in fact, have set a lap time on the board. Misha then on his way. He looks aggressive right up to the grass. Like, if he goes a few centimeters more to the right or to the left, sometimes he will just be on the grass and go straight. That's amazing for me. But across the line and improves to 14.9, goes P3.
Pretty good second lap there for Misha, not beating Tony Reish or Silo, but that's a good start for a driver that's, I don't want to say in the bottom half of the grid, but not someone that you would be pitting up against Silo, let's say, for the time being. Another driver yet to set a lap time, and that's Quantum. Had a very good, solid start of the season, and I thought at times we could see a driver with on a pad win a race here in Console Tier 1, but unfortunately has been pipped to it by, then it was Dirk and then Silo as well. And let's see what Quantum can do. And you've raced against a fair few of these now, and who would be the most tricky of drivers to pit or to try and overtake and pit yourself against?
Well, the obvious answer really is those at the front, obviously, because there's a reason at the front, that's because they're good and not easy at all to race against. So Silo, obviously, whoa, big side to Quantum, sorry there, but Silo, obviously, Quantum is also very good. He's better than you think, definitely, and he's not easy at all to beat, as well as Tony Richet and some of the VNT lot as well. They normally cook up some good strategies, so they're not very easy to beat either on strategy. Obviously on pace it's a bit different. But Volokongan as well. The SCI lot are very, very, very strong in the race, and they're very, very difficult to beat.
They have an ex-console tier 1 driver giving all the insights there. And Ziawadi then coming around the final 2 corners, turns 15 and 16, and Ziawadi heading down that start-finish straight to set their first lap time of the evening, but it's only a 1:15.1 for them. Simba Rocks one. There's a fair few other drivers. Is Ward's on a lap time? No, Ward's is invalidated. Not ideal from them. Venom, you are a little bit further down the grid, but let's see what they can do. Yet to set a lap time again, but at least we've had half of the drivers now setting a lap time. 7 minutes of the session remaining. Who do you think is going to take pole position tonight?
It'll be definitely interesting to watch. I think my money's on Silo for this one, though. Definitely, with a strong banker, I'm expecting him to definitely do a very good lap at the end. But one thing, though, I'm noticing. Well, there you go. Silo's improved, of course. But one thing I'm noticing is that a lot of people are not probably setting the lap times they want as Venom goes third. I'm pretty sure a lot of drivers will be very disappointed with the laps they've done so far, maybe apart from maybe Silo. And now, heck, even maybe Silo might be a little bit disappointed with that lap time for his terms. But, I think a lot of drivers are just, they're not happy with something because they're not setting probably the times they want. And obviously a lot of them still invalidating. And now's the time, with 6 minutes left on the clock. It's not a lot when you think about it. And, still... What was that? 6 people that still yet set time as well. So I think there's a lot of unhappy drivers as Schumacher goes third, I think. Well, that was a while ago. That's now Max van der Geest going fourth as well. As Kevin goes across the line. Goes ninth. But yeah, no, still, when you look at the time, 14.9 for Kevin, I think he'd be, everyone around him is going to be quite disappointed with his times.
Volokongan throws themselves up into third place, and still a few drivers yet to set lap times. Typical's just about to start. Monza's invalidated again, and into the pits for them. Ward's invalidated as well. But even in the chat, they're saying that about the invalidations as well, which just shows that maybe there's a few drivers feeling the pressure. Dirk did manage to get themselves a lap in eventually, now going slow, and Max, their teammate in the V Carb, nearly collecting the back end of them. Let us know in the chat as well who you think is going to take pole position tonight, who's going to have the best runs of it all. But at the moment, Silo's got that big advantage over Tony Reish, and Tony only managed to set 1 lap time. The second lap was an invalidation.
I'm just watching Typical here. I think he's not really going for many quali runs as of yet. It looks like he was doing a bit of a race run there. Car and the gravel just sitting there. Hello. But that was Misha actually. But I think definitely interesting warm-up strategy there from Typical. Just doing a little bit of a race run, not coming into the pits due to the lack of fuel left. But still 4 of them have not set a lap time, which is definitely not ideal. Both kick Saubers, in fact, as well, that's not going to happen at all. But, I think now the majority of people have now set a lap time. They'll be certainly pushing for the extra tenths in the last runs.
Well, while we wait, and I say while we wait, I think that could very well be Ward's going out early to try and set their lap. the race will be obviously going straight after this. We've spoken briefly about strategy and how it will all pan out, but track position is quite key in Australia.
Yeah, obviously with the 4 DRS zones, then is very important to keep yourself at the front. Otherwise, the truth is it's not very easy to overtake here. Neither it is on any track really on this game because EA. But especially here you want the track position where you need to keep yourself at least in the top 5. Pick up on any mistake that people might make. So really, yeah, you need to be yourself at big minimum top 10 if you want a chance at a good result. Otherwise, it's just not going to be. It's not going to happen for you, mate. It's going to be very, very tricky if you're starting, from the bottom 10, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, qualifying is quite important here, actually.
There's a load of cars exiting the pit lane. It seems like in a really poor spot for TF10 Wards, because Wards has got to fight through all of that on their lap, I would assume. And there's 3 more cars exiting the pit lane. They might get in front of the Haas, but is the McLaren going to slow down in time? The McLaren has thankfully stopped to allow Wards to go through, but there's a big snap on turn 1, and that could affect their lap time.
He's already backed out, so he's going to go again. Obviously, going early for that reason. If you make a mistake, you can go again. So War's making use of the time he has left. 2 minutes left on the clock. Some people still haven't exited the pit lane, in fact, but others are already starting. That's Tony then, starting his lap with 1 minute and 50 to go.
I think it's actually a good choice to go on board with. I say that, and in validation, very early doors, that turn 1 seems to be maybe catching a load of drivers out. Luca then, I believe, will be starting their final lap. I don't know if they're going to have enough time to go around again. Even if they invalidate early, you don't want to waste your tyres, do you? And that could be big. And turn 1 seems to be affecting a lot of the drivers tonight.
In turn 1, on one of those corners, is have to thread the needle in there. It's really not easy to get it right. You can get it right cautiously. Luca getting very close to invalidating there, but you can get it right, but you're not gonna be very fast. You need to absolutely be on the edge of track limits there. And I actually can't see how much time there's left because of the yellow flags out. So Luca, and I think now he gets to a stage of a lap where if he messes up, he can't go again. Just simply he can't. He won't have the tyres to. He won't have the battery at all to. Now there's 43 seconds left on the clock, so you'll have to. He's invalidated. Great. Well, you'll have time to cross the line to start a lap, but you won't have the battery to, which is not ideal in the slightest. But Silo's then on his lap.
Yeah, Silo. It's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to beat Silo with the unfortunate way of people's qualifying laps going as they are. Samuel Barker, I believe, is just rounding the final corner to set their last qualifying time of the evening. Well, we've got 7 seconds. They've got themselves up into 7th place, but not going to be enough to do anything further than that. Let's go on board with our current pole sitter as Monza throws themselves into 3rd place. Venom then goes 2nd, dropping Monza another position. Tony Reish, is in danger of not starting on the front row of the grid. Ziawadi's retired from the session, but here is Silo down the start-finish line to finish their qualifying. It's quicker. It's only a little bit quicker than what they were doing. Can Tony Reish respond? They're just heading round into these final few corners now.
Yeah, Tony Reish, I saw he was, I think, a 10th up after Sector 1. And, I think he can get himself into 2nd if he gets a very good last sector. A little bit of maybe dirty, it won't affect him too much from the Haas. Round the final corner then. On the run to the line, maybe tiny 0.001 slipstream, and goes 2nd fastest. Finds quite a lot of time in the last sector.
That's a lot of time in the last sector. Exactly what they needed. Dirk, and I've just gone on board with Dirk. And has that been a problem with a Mercedes? There's a Mercedes out. Simbarox one is out of the session. What has happened between the two of those two? I'm not 100% sure if it was a coming together. But Dirk, the driver in 2nd place in this championship, is in 14th place. It's another horror week for them.
not ideal at all, considering that Silo's on pole. At a track like this, that just might be your worst nightmare, because you're not... Dirk, I think he can maybe still, scratch a little few points, but when Silo's on pole, it's gonna be super, super difficult for the championship in the long run.
Just checking the chat, and it did look like there was an incident, and wow, interesting. But let's have a look at the standings for this. It's Silo from Tony Reich on the front row of the grid. Then you've got Venom and Fana Spinoda, Kevin Zunneberg and Max in 5th and 6th, 7th to Monza, 8th to Volokonga, 9th to Schumacher, and 10th to Misha. Then you've got Quantum, Nico Castronovo, Samuel Barker, Dirk, Wards, Simba Roxwan, Ziawadi, Luca, Lawrence, and Typical. Let's have a look at the standings again before we really delve into qualifying through all that. And just, even Volokongan, to be honest, down in, I think, 9th place, I want to say, for qualifying. It's either 8th or 9th. It's not a great place for them to be in, considering Tony Reich is 2nd on the grid.
That's not good either, but I think from 9th he can still... hello.
Hello.
It's raining, everyone. That's interesting. But now with a wet race, okay, that's just thrown the importance... Well, no, that's not thrown it. It's made the importance of qualifying even more important, because now it's raining. It's going to be even more difficult to overtake. And the undercut will not be as powerful. Well, it will be same. Powerness, that's not a word, is it? Strength. But obviously the gaps will be much bigger because there's no DRS and there's still dirty air. Dirk might be just a little bit of trouble here for the championship. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be, unless it's a huge incident, very, very, very difficult to continue fighting Silo, considering he's on pole. And yeah, Volokongan, I think P8 or P9, yeah, as you're saying, against Tony, it will be, definitely difficult for him, but we all know Volokongan. I think he can do something from 9th or 8th or whatever. Well, let me check, actually. From 8th. I think he can do something. Definitely.
Volokongan has been a champion, a previous race winner. He knows how to... I can't believe I said that way around. A previous race winner, he's even a champion. Let's go with that in console tier 1. So he knows a thing or two. But yeah, from 9th, he's definitely going to be able to go and do something in this Grand Prix, I think. Chat, let us know who you think is going to take victory tonight. Is it going to be Silo from pole, or can Tony do anything from 2nd, or is it going to be anyone else on the grid? Because it's all changed a little bit. How about yourself? Who do you think is going to take victory?
I mean, obvious answer, Silo, but I'm interested in Tony here, because Tony, I think he can do something as well, starting 2nd alongside Silo, because obviously you've got the difference in, one is pad and one is wheel, and that might, or if Silo's wheel, I've completely missed that, but if, that might just help Tony out here with things like tyre wear and maybe grip in certain conditions. Yes, Silo will have... Oh, it's restart now. Well.
Okay, here we go. 4, 5 red lights. We'll hit that very, very shortly, very soon. But here comes the start of this one. And it's a great start, I think, from Tony. But I don't think it's good enough to dispatch Silo into turn 1. But Silo's gone a bit wide, which has allowed Tony back at it and around the outside of turn 2, heading down that 2nd straight, and Tony Reich has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. Venom's trying to get involved as well. To Silo's trying to go back around the outside into turn 3. Tony's not going to give him as much room as Silo would want, but Silo's keeping in there. The Mercedes versus Red Bull, very 2021 reminiscent, and Silo retakes the lead of this Grand Prix, and Venom has, desperately trying to find a way through, but can't. But what a start to this Grand Prix. Tony now dropping behind a little bit.
Problem. Dirk is in last place, and there's already DNF ahead. What's going on? I think a few disconnections here and there. A lot of people also going wide at turn number 1. But for now, Mr. Dirk is in P18 and is not with the pack. That might just be a little problem for the championship. But yeah, no, a lot of people missing turn, especially Silo giving Tony a chance round the outside then for turn 2, or be turn 7. Anyway, but yeah, no, in the background as well, W Monza, I think it was, got very, very bad start. Oh, was it W Monza, I think? Or was it... Oh, no, it was Kevin, who got a very, very slow start off the line. Was talking to Monza, he's fighting away with Schumacher here in the last corner.
Got damage to Venom. There was an incident, I suppose you could say it was an incident, at the, well, pretty much the entry into turn 11, and no front left end plate, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for the, well, just cornering ability of that McLaren. And Schumacher versus Max van der Gies as they're heading down towards, and Schumacher's absolutely, whoa, my goodness me. I thought that Williams was going to be, well, inserted by an Aston Martin there.
He pushes the kicks out of the wide. I think that was Wars. He's fighting away with Still, and wow, it's very, very sketchy stuff here from Schumacher. Completely missing the braking zone. I'm sure, I think anyway, he's misjudged which. Oh, is that Wards in the gravel again? Wards has been completely bullied here by Schumacher here, and you know, I think he just completely. I think he's chosen the wrong brake board to brake at. But no, I think, although I was going to say, on Schumacher's side, it's very, very important to be aggressive now while the field is bunched up, because it's not going to be easy once, you know, the race settles down. When we go later in the race, it won't be easy to stay with other people. So you've got to get your moves done now, as Kevin continues to lose places there from both Astons. There's a bit of fighting away with Quantum and Luca N, I believe.
There is just front wing end plate damage to Kevin Zinnebergen. They're going into the pits. Hopefully this isn't a retirement for Kevin, and he decides to stick it out as Volokongan and Monza trading places. And well, Volokongan, you quite rightly mentioned this as well, is being very shrewd with its overtakes and up into 6th place.
Yeah. Kevin then calling it quits very early. I'm surprised, considering it's the very start of the race and anything can still happen. Schumacher then on Lawrence gets the move done, doesn't make the braking board this time. But yeah, no, Volokongan is making places. He's gained, I think, 2 places off the line. He has 2 places. Luca N has gained 8 places from P18. That's a wonderful start from him. But yeah, no, as you can see, the field spread is already quite significant. You know, 2.4 seconds from Silo to Venom. And Dirk already on the back of everyone. So we'll be trying to make positions very quickly. In fact, I think there's a little fight at the back. I think it is Castronovo losing yet another place towards this time. Castronovo not confident in these conditions in the slightest. It's very, very surprising from his VNT driver.
Very unfortunate, but going up the inside into turn 15, and very, very tight between the two of them, still battling away is Wards and Nico Castronovo, and that's very good battling between the two of them, giving some action, and Nico not losing out on the fight at the moment, but it's allowed Dirk to come up the inside and squeeze in front of TF10 Wards, who, well, was all the way up, I think, into 9th place at one point, and is now back down to 16th place. Quantum and Misha swapping positions. Quantum trying to get back, well, trying to get back into the swing of things. They're up 3 places, which is a good start for them. Everyone is on a set of intermediate compound tyres in these, well, damp conditions, but it doesn't seem to be raining as heavily as we could have expected.
No, the track doesn't look very wet, anyway, from my point of view, and I think the stream's point of view as well. It looks like, you know, and it's not raining a big amount. Now, the real question is, will it stay raining like this, or will it become dry at the end? Obviously, everyone loves changing conditions. That's especially what I would like to see. A bit more stressful for everyone else, driving, of course, but because obviously you've got to put on the, I think, you got to put on your dry set, obviously, so you know, these sketchy moments. I think everyone's sliding around a lot, so it could mean that potentially we're seeing dry setups. That's Lawrence on the grass in this corner I can't name, so I don't know what corner it's called. Well, losing a place to Samuel Barker and a lot of time there, but you know, a lot of sliding. Simba Rocks 1 has found the wall, maybe. Oh, I actually can't see that, but at least going for a spin. But yeah, maybe dry setups being employed here, which is making everyone struggle a bit.
Yeah, and there is Quantum and Monza swapping positions then. Volakongan is 2 seconds behind Max in 5th place. Fana Spinoda, let's just remind ourselves, managed to dodge the Aston Martin of Schumacher at turn 3 a few laps ago, and in a very skillful way, to be honest, because I'm not saying Schumacher was aiming for him, it just completely missed the braking zone, and the IQ to see that from Fana Spinoda was quite high, and getting out the way all over the back of Venom. Venom has that front wing damage, let's not forget that, but still doing very well, holding on to 3rd place for the time being. Tony Riesch is still catching Silo, but after swapping positions on the first lap, they did swap back, and Silo still leads this Grand Prix. Silo seems to have Tony's number as things stand, but if it does dry up at the end, it could be why a lot of these drivers are suffering. And Misha and Luca getting very close in the background, trying to get some positional changes. Luca's having a really good race at the moment.
Yeah, quite a nice performance from him. But now Dirk's continuing to make up positions. Now he's up to 40. He's back up to where he started, actually, which is a bit surprising to say. But yeah, another feature now I just thought of with this rain is that, considering how wet it is, well, how dry it is, let's say, or not wet it is, tyre wear could be a factor here. So it'll be important for everyone to keep their tyres cool and keep them going as long as they can. I think, obviously considering dry tyre wear is quite high, what about wet tyre wear? It'll be very interesting to see. Although the rain is, I don't know if it's just me, but it isn't picking up on my end just a tiny bit, or at least from what I think. So yeah, we could see, maybe rain to the end.
I could do. Would we see? I don't think it would. It wouldn't be advantageous to, because you don't have to pit because it's wet. You don't have to pit and change tyres. But I don't think these inters would go to the end. And if they would, it wouldn't be advantageous to do that, would it?
No, definitely not. Your interest is definitely to pit. The real question is when. I think doing a 0 stop is the most harm you can do to your race. So unless you want to really gamble, as Lawrence is having a look up Samuel Barker, fastest lap from Silo, which maybe indicates that I'm definitely wrong and that the track is not, or the rain is not getting much heavier. Yeah, no, definitely don't want to do 0 stop, especially at a track like this, where there's the right-handers are quite long. You put a lot of stress into your tyres, and the tyre wear is not very low. You need the both, and even if you can make the 0 stop work, it's definitely not going to be the fastest.
It's going to be interesting to see when drivers decide to take the punt and go into the pits for the fresh set. And if it was, well, I'm trying to think if it was heavier earlier or now. It seems very similar, but Quantum, see what they can do at the moment on the back of Volakongan, but Volakongan seems to have the measure of the Alpine driver at the moment. Do we think maybe Volakongan's just not showing true pace right now because they know Venom has damage and doesn't want to risk that double stack if the weather completely goes dry at an instant?
Maybe, or he could just be struggling. That's another possibility. But yeah, Quantum getting very, very, very close in the braking zone of the penultimate corner. I'll be calling that the penultimate corner now. But I don't think it's really to do with a double stacking though, because you can definitely do 1 lap extra on the inters and not do much harm. They could be setting up, in fact, well, I'll say not for double stack. They could be setting up a situation where it would be advantageous for Volakongan to pit first if that was the case, or I've just completely contradicted myself there. I was just about to say no, maybe for a double stack, but that's what I've just said they're not going to do. But no, maybe it could just be him struggling a bit. Obviously, it depends if it's going to dry up, which I've been talking about earlier, potentially employing dry setups, which they're not necessarily the same between all the drivers, and that's Van Geest getting past his fellow VNT man, Fana Spinoda. Obviously, Fana Spinoda not fighting that. But, it's interesting to see Volokongan's pace, especially considering that his teammate inferred as damage. I'm a bit surprised by it. But, yeah, it could just be conserving his tyres as well.
And it could be the straight line setup that they've gone for and slower in the corners where we're not really seeing the difference in cornering speed because Volokongan's struggling because of this. Oh my goodness me! Quantum has absolutely messed up turn 15 and given Volokongan a little bit of a reprieve there. But we got some pit stops from Samuel Barker, Misha, Nico Castronovo. What are they going to be going on to? Is it going to be fresh intermediate tyres? It is. So no chance of dries just yet.
Very, very interesting. We're seeing not one, not two, not three, but 4 drivers pitting the same lap for Inters.
Apart from
I'm
Nico.
very, very... Nico has put on the new front wing and has put on... Nico, what are you doing, my fine friend? Why are you on the slick tyres? What is bro doing? I'm sorry, but like, Nico, what have you done? Come on, man. It's still raining. I don't know if you see this, but it's still raining. I don't see the situation where the slicks were, the right choice to go to. I mean, he's not struggling too much as of yet, unless it is just a visual glitch on my end, which it could very well be, but during EA. Yeah, I mean, unless he's on the Inters and it's not on the medium, I don't know, but it's anyway.
It does look like mediums on this end, so whether it's a mistake, but they're holding it to the ground, to the track, okay at the moment.
Surprising. It could have been like, really dry and, quantum 10-second, not ideal. But, Nico's going for it. On Simba Rocks 1, into this corner, I don't know the name of. Whoa! Gets it all wrong on the exit, though. Cold tyres kicking back in. But, I think the fact that everyone's pitting now means, it's not even a 1-stop. It's a 2-stop at this point. If it continues to rain like that. Which, it's got a high chance of doing. So, how many was that? Like, lots of people just came in pits. So, yeah. It could just be now a 2-stop, And the real challenge is, maybe people like Volokongan, who I was saying, maybe before he's going to now conserve his tyres, is he going to try and do the 1-stop?
Maybe hold out for the rain while other... maybe there's a cut-off on the period of it's going to be dry towards the end. Some drivers think it's too much of a risk to hold those Inters for so long, and they're happy to push the intermediate tyres further with a technical second set of intermediates, while other drivers are wanting just to not use that and just wait until the dries come out. Silo has gone into the pit, so has Fana Spinoda. Tony Reich then stuck behind Wards, desperately needs to get past to try get track position from Silo. Silo has jumped because of what Tony Reich has done. This is going to be interesting as we come down the start-finish straight. Where is Silo in all this? Silo has still got the lead of the technical lead of the Grand Prix from Tony Reich, because Tony got held up by Wards coming through the final 2 corners.
Yeah, but I'm just surveying Nico's pace, right? He's not too slow, at least compared to Simba Rocks 1. If we just have a look at the fastest lap set by Misha, it was a 1:26.5 last lap. Nico has set 1:27.7 on his mediums. So maybe, it is just literally almost bone dry. And Venom just has eaten a lot of grass there. But maybe it is just very dry, and in the rain is just kind of, artificial in a way. But it's very, 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 very interesting that Nico is, able to get the pace on the mediums while it's still raining on my end. But another thing I've just thought about is why the mediums, because we know the mediums in a dry normally cannot do that many laps. I'm not sure as to why he didn't go on to hards and try and get to the end. Though. That's something I'm thinking about.
Lawrence pits for the hards or for that as well, as Dirk made a mistake out the exit of turn 15 and throws themselves into the pits. Volakongan is staying out, going into turn 1 now, and is 3.7 seconds ahead of pole sitter driver, and that was Silo. Hard compounder tyres for Max, hards for Schumacher, hards for Dirk. Interesting.
So yeah.
Very interesting. Split strategies throughout.
It's very interesting considering the fact it's still raining on my screen, which is absolute. It's weird. But, yeah, no. It just makes you think, why did Nico go on the medium and not the hards? Completely there, while everyone else has gone on the hards, including, you know, his fellow VNT man, Max van der Geest. Yeah, I don't know. But the grip definitely doesn't seem that bad, though. On the mediums, as I said that, he just had a very, very big slide. But yeah, his pace is, you know, not too shabby. So, I don't know. It's something to keep an eye out.
Yellow flag from someone. That's someone into
That's
the wall.
Dirk.
And the
That's
driver,
Dirk. He's just hit the wall.
the driver who risked a set of hards, risked losing more places in the championship, has just absolutely struggled through all this. Volakongan stays out another lap time. There's front wing damage to Dirk, and that could be sayonara for the championship fight for Dirk. And such a shame with how things have gone for them this evening. Silo then catching Volakongan at a rate of knots. This could be Volakongan just holding out for a little bit more dry and wanting a bit of track position.
Yep, certainly. I mean, I can see now Monza's back in the pits after being on the Inters for 2 laps, and he's gone onto the fresh hards then. But yeah, Volakongan, no, the only one he hasn't pit yet. Could he be back on for another strategy masterclass here and have the, you know, the fresher tyres at the end? Silo flies past him, obviously because he's got in-lap fresher Inters. Although it needs to be careful because it will get to a point where he will just puncture. Considering there's a lot of people on the slicks, you know, I'm thinking, how old have those Inters got to be, and when will he decide to pit? I reckon he might pit in just a few laps. However, the real question is, will he pit onto medium or will he pit onto hards? Because the medium, we're getting to a point now where the medium could start becoming better than the hards to go to the end of the race.
We'll have to wait and see, and this is just helping, as Shizou is a helping Shizou driver. I know it's unlikely to be that way. However, Shizou Volakongan holding up Tony Reish for what seems like an eternity, but it cost Tony a second in all that in their battle with Silo. There's a swapping of position. Misha going on to the set of hards now as well, as does the Aston Martin of Samuel Barker, I believe, as typical, going up into 11th place with these drivers hitting the pits. We haven't had the DRS enabled sign come up, but it's interesting. Max van der Geesten in 7th place, the lead hard runner, not really losing time to Fana Spinona, but not really catching.
No, I mean, it looks about equal than both tyres, really, which is a situation that's very, very unusual. I am just looking at other drivers' POV. It is raining for them as well, so this is very, very, very unusual territory here for a lot of these drivers, you know, on the slicks while it's still raining. I think the strategists must have, you know, wanted to do things to themselves because, like, you know, that's probably half of them are saying, what are you doing? The other half are saying, yeah, no, what is going on? Because, like, Volakongan is now finally in. But, you know, you're looking at that, it's still raining. I'm like, thinking, what? So, I don't know, it's a real head scratcher here.
Volakongan does go on to a set of hard compound tyres. Let's see where Vola comes out in all this as they're exiting the pit lane now. Could be behind Lawrence if they don't get up to speed quickly enough as they head on through. Here is Lawrence heading towards turn 1. It does look very wet from the on board of Lawrence's POV right now. I just see Volokongan a second up the road, and that could be absolutely perfect for Volokongan to ensure that they're not stuck behind the Ferrari of Lawrence for too long, and they can heat the tyres up and get pushing straight away. But what Volokongan's done is ensure that they are capable of getting to the end of the Grand Prix on these hards, with them being maybe a little bit warm because of the extra slipping and sliding they may get in the wet weather.
The opposite effect is it's a cold circuit, so the tyre wear won't be as high when it's cold, definitely. Definitely while it's still raining. Yeah, no. It'll be very strong if it's not completely dry at the end. Although others will be starting out to pit on mediums instead, which comes back to my point of Nico, like, why is he on the mediums? But another unusual fact here is how massive the gaps are between each driver, you know. It's a tier like this, unusually high, which means you can do a bit different strategies, you know, and stay out maybe a bit longer for that clean air and come back out in a huge gap for you to push in.
Yeah, we weren't expecting either. We were expecting DRS train tonight. That was the word that was used, and a little bit of skidding and sliding from both Volokongan and Lawrence through turn 2, which unexpected, really. Venom has been dispatched by Quantum, and Quantum can now look at trying to... Oh, goodness, Paul Lawrence is really struggling on those. Wow, how has Typical managed to avoid the Ferrari? That's quite impressive from Typical, but unable to get a move done on Lawrence.
Yeah, but I'm watching the gaps between the inters and the hards. The inters still seem faster, you know, just slightly, and it's, you know, very dependent on how many laps you've got on each tyre. But Silo at least is still faster than. Has it stopped raining? No, it hasn't. But the Silo is still faster, you know, than some of the inters. Oh, and the inters. Well, the slicks and the other inters, I suppose. But you know, Volokongan is doing pretty much the same times as him, if not a little bit slower. So yeah, it's very, very, very confusing, to be honest, watching this.
Yeah, I think Volokongan's done probably the right thing. If it dries up, then they're going to definitely be ahead of Quantum and Venom when they pit for, and Spinoda when they pit for fresh tyres. And even if they pit for fresh inters towards the end of the race, or fresh mediums, they're going to be quicker than... Volokongan's going to get the track position and probably have tyres to get them, ensure that they will come towards the end of the race in possibly a podium position, which is better than where they started. But it's 25 seconds between Volokongan and Silo as things stand, and Nico Castronovo finally pits to get rid of those probably horrid medium compounder tyres.
Yeah, but you know, it's not the thing that Volokongan wants to see, I think, this gap between... No, it's not raining. But the rain is super, super light, though. But, you know, Volokongan, I think he's not happy with these gaps. I think he wants to be, you know, much quicker than Silo, because obviously, though, he didn't have the choice, really, staying out on those very old inters. So, you know, he was kind of forced to pitting on the hards. But now the hards, you know, they're not much quicker than the inters. They're slightly, at this point in time now, because it's getting drier. And, well, Volokongan now setting a fast lap with a 1:25.5. But, you know, Silo, Tony, Quantum, Venom maybe, and Spinoda, when they pit onto those slicks, if they do, or if it's still on the winter, they will be lightning quick compared to Volokongan. A, because those slicks in question will probably be mediums, and B, because they'll be much fresher. And I think it might have... No, it's still raining. But, yeah, no. Volokongan now picking up the pace. The Tyres are getting warmer, so at least that's good. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with this.
Definitely not. Well, kind of doing what they have to do. And sometimes that's where the best drivers really showcase their stuff and show everyone how good they are. But let's see, Wards and Luca, two teammates close together on track. Luca being the quicker of the drivers. It's still odd to see so many drivers on the intermediate compounded tyres, but I say that Tony Reich has decided to pit for mediums. So is Quantum, and I believe they are for hards. Quantum playing the longer game here, but also has a 10-second penalty to serve because of speeding in the pit lane earlier. That's not ideal for them. Schumacher then comes out just behind Tony Reich, and is Schumacher going to play a little bit more in a part for this story in the Australian Grand Prix?
Potentially, Lawrence just lagging behind. Van der Spino just comes out the pits on cold tyres, but it has officially, finally, after all the times I've been saying it, stopped raining, which means obviously that's triggered Tony Venom, Van der Spino and Quantum. Yeah, as you said, it had to serve his penalty, unfortunately, to come pit, which means Mr. Max van der Geest will be taking the lead of the race off Silo, probably for just a little bit, maybe one lap. Yellow flag on the track. I cannot identify what that is, unfortunately, but yeah, no, Tony, he's in a very, very good spot as well, undercutting Silo. But Max van der Geest has found himself in a position where he can still fight for a podium. Next car behind him, who's on the same strategy, we'll say, is Schumacher, and he's 4 seconds behind him, and that's a lot, really, in this context, But obviously, it depends now whether Volokongen, Venom, and everyone else can catch him. But Venom, as I've been saying, a lot. Well, I haven't been saying this, but anyway, they're 14 seconds behind Max van der Geest, so very good position for the VNT man here.
Very good. Silo pits just behind as well, and that is the interval gap. It's a second between Silo and Max. It's a second between Tony and Silo. Silo having to heat those tyres up with a track that could be still quite cold. It'll take a little while to get sorted and up to temperature. But things are starting to look a little bit closer together now. But they may have come into the pits earlier than I was expecting. So maybe Volokongen's hards can still be of use later in the race.
Yeah, definitely as well. Volokongen still 6-ish seconds ahead of his fellow SEI man Venom, who I think still has damage. He still has damage. Yeah, Nico retires unfortunately, but Venom is still 3.5 seconds ahead of Van der Spinoda. So Volokongen is easily set here for a top 5 finish, and maybe even higher. Luca N has found the barriers and has lost a lot of his front wing there. Not ideal, considering we were saying before, was having a very good race, but yeah, not ideal.
That was a real unfortunate moment for Luca. The exit of turn 12, where it happens so often, maybe in the junior categories or the lower league, where you just put the power down too early and sends you into a little spin. And Luca was caught out there and went careering into the wall, and the tyres in the pit lane. There's someone else that has made an error. Is that typical, I think, going slowly? That's Monza retiring in the pits as well. So there's a few drivers just calling it a day. Monza was doing all right.
I'm not sure as to why Monza's retired. That I'll have to look at later, which means now there's 15 people left in the race, which is not... Well, I mean, it's normal, but it's not a lot either. Considering the gaps, it's it's going to be quite difficult to pick up anything if you're not in the top 10. But Silo completely now gapping Tony Richaud. Tony Richaud was momentarily in his DRS. He's just completely been gapped. And, Max van der Geest remains in third. His task is to stay in third ahead of Schumacher, and, there'll be a Volokongen coming after him very quickly, and as well maybe a Venom at the end. We'll see about that with his front wing damage. But yeah, it's been very good for Max van der Geest.
very a mature display, let's say, with the performance so far. Let's see Quantum. Quantum will be racing with a little bit of venom, I guess you could say, because of that 10-second penalty they received. So we'll be pushing those tyres. Maybe that's why Quantum decided to put the hards on, so they could just push that little bit more. They've obviously, well, I say obviously, they probably would have saved a little bit of fuel in the wet weather, wouldn't they?
The opposite, actually, I think, considering what based off data we saw last game and this game, is that you burn more fuel now in the wet. So, well, you have to go a lot slower to conserve the fuel. I was seeing a few people during the wet stint, struggling a bit with fuel. I think Dirk being one of them. But, yeah, I mean, Quantum, as you're saying as well, on the hards now. Those mediums, over the Silo, Tony Richer will start to now overheat ever so slightly. Obviously, track's still being a bit cold, was with 3 seconds as well now. But, yeah, and Silo's at fast lap as well.
Lawrence making a mistake at turn 6-7, maybe causing those tyres just a little bit of overheating. Needs to slow down and just let it all through, but that means Samuel Barker and Misha will be coming to play with them. But
it's not enough.
Yeah.
Well,
Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be... Lawrence is going on for a set of mediums. Wants fresh tyres. Going to kick at it. Fair play to Lawrence for that. Volokongan all over the back now of Schumacher for the battle for P4, which could end up being the battle for the podium if Volokongan can dispatch of Schumacher quickly enough.
Yeah, with Lawrence, I think he just saw that he's not going to get points anyway, so he just might as well, why not, have some fun on the medium for the end of the race. Volokongan getting past then Schumacher, and his next sight is for the podium with Max van der Geest. 3.7 seconds up the road then. That's not a hugely difficult task considering he's got a 3-lap fresher heart, which will be about, I would say 10% maybe fresher, which is a considerable amount considering high tyre wear here. Tony Richer now sets the fastest lap. The gap now up to 2.3 between the two leaders. I think it will be staying that way, if not increasing, which I think means Silo should be normally, if nothing happens, on for a race win, and that means 3 in a row.
3 on the bounce indeed. Quantum fastest driver on the circuit now. Just taking that away from Silo, I believe. So great response from Quantum considering things going against them on this one. Schumacher trying to keep up with Volokongan for the time being. And this could be an epic freeway battle for the final podium positions if Schumacher can just stick to the back end of that McLaren for the time being. We don't think that Venom will be able to catch up with these guys because of that front wing damage and then the tyre life of those mediums just being away from them towards the end of the race. We are on lap 24 of 29. Not many laps to go for Volokongan to catch up. Fana Spinoda, though, could dispatch of Venom in all this. That's another one to watch.
Yeah, obviously as his tyres are getting better and better each lap compared to Venom, it could be definitely interesting, yeah, for P6 and maybe even P5 considering Schumacher's penalty for track limits. So it's not over for Fana Spinoda at all, considering, as well, Schumacher with 13 lap old hards compared to Fana Spinoda's now 6 across the line. So, he's got to catch up, 2 seconds, 3 seconds? I can't tell, but yeah, I think Fana Spinoda's also looking for a good top 5 finish here.
Definitely is. But will Venom deploy the super wide rear end of a McLaren to help Volokongan out? Because Fana Spinoda is looking pacey right now, and Venom is struggling a little bit for grip through certain areas. Quantum is also fast approaching on the scene, so it is going to kick off through there eventually. Schumacher again hounding Volokongan, and maybe this is a little bit of a a problem for Volokongan because they're not catching Max just ahead as quickly as they were a few laps ago.
No, and also catching is one thing, and then he's got to pass him as well. Big problem there. So he's got to ramp up the pace. Fanus Minota all over now the back of Venom. But as you're saying, I don't think it's very necessary though for Venom to be backing up Fanus Minota, because I don't think he'll be catching Volokongan and passing Volokongan by the end. I think Venom's just, he's going to do it for his own sake. But obviously with the damage is going to be very, very difficult, especially on the back straight with that long DRS straight. So, yeah, is he going to go now? Oh, he's had a look. He had a look, but he's not gone for it. Or making himself big in the mirrors then. Quantum, as you were saying as well, fast approaching this scene. Venom could be dropping down to 8th by the end of this. But yeah, Fanus Spinoda will just do a flyby then, most likely on the back straight. With DRS, with the battery. Venom's got battery to defend. Dirk's got 10 seconds spinning in pit lane. Dirk has given up, understandably, because he was last, and last by a long way. Oh, well, Van Spinoda's not thrown by him. Okay, then. Oh, this could get interesting.
Whoa,
Someone shopped it, though.
Big snap there from Fanus Spinoda, and that has allowed a little bit of a reprieve for Venom. And Quantum probably saw that just behind and, well, maybe licking their lips in anticipation. Volokongan still hasn't caught Max van der Kiest up in P3 yet, and Schumacher still hounding that Mercedes for P4. Fanus Spinoda, well, there's Schumacher looking just in the clear air, maybe trying not to be in the dirty air as much, in Volokongan's dirty air as much. But Schumacher, since being dispatched of by Volokongan, has shown some great pace and willingness to just stick with it. As how close was Fanus Spinoda to the back end of Venom then? To look like him pushing McLaren around the corners.
Yeah, there's also a great recovery from Schumacher himself, after that big moment in the opening few laps in turn 3 or turn 2, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, that big moment dropping to 15th, I think it was, or something, or 14th, come back to going 5th as well, and it's hurrying Volokongan along despite all the tyres as well. So Roxman gets a free second, and Fanus Spinoda finally gets past Venom. But it's been a great drive from Schumacher. It's showing great pace as well.
And that's an unfortunate one, dispatching of Venom, but picking up a 3-second time penalty for their trouble. Fanus Spinoda will be thoroughly disappointed with themselves through all that. Venom now within... Quantum now within DRS of Venom, just ahead. I think Venom misses out of the DRS of Fanus Spinoda because of the poor exit through turn 15. Here comes Quantum. Do they wait until turns 1 and 2 chicane complete? I think they will. It's great to see from Venom, who've had that front wing damage from lap 1, not pick up any penalties. That's a great drive from the Shizou driver through all this. 1.7 seconds now separates Volokongan and Max, but on the penultimate laps of the race, is that too little too late?
Maybe it is, but yeah, Volokongan, just too late there to get the podium. Now Quantum's going to be flying by Mr. Venom then. Yeah, as you're saying, Venom, very, very good job from him. It's very tough to turn the car already when you're missing an end plate like that. And doing pretty much the whole race, that's quite an effort, actually. That's really, really respectable there. So hats off to Venom there for not getting a track penalty yet. Well, I'll say yet. It's one more lap. Let's hope he doesn't get one then. But, yeah, no. He'll be still finishing... He's trying to finish 7th then with Fanus Spinoda's penalty. But it'll be very, very tough demand as we start the final lap.
The final lap is upon us. You can hear the final countdown, maybe music hearing in the background. But Silo, who now leads by 4.5 seconds, having a great race. Volokongan is going to throw one last throw of the dice, even if I can put my teeth in, and is within the DRS of Max ahead. Schumacher is just hanging on for dear life, but don't forget Schumacher has that 3-second time penalty through it all. Max has driven a great race, but can Volokongan break their heart through all this. I don't think it's going to happen. The long back straight. DRS is not open yet. Now it's open, but I think Volokongan's too far away. I don't think there's going to be an opportunity to do it into turn 13 either. And I'm eager to go on board with a driver that we've barely been on board with. Volokongan takes a huge chunk out of that corner to try and give them a little bit of something, but I don't think it is. But this has been all about one driver, and that is Silo. And we will go back on board with Volokongan. Is there going to be a late dart at the inside? There is. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them, and Volokongan lets Max van der Geest go. Tony Richet in second place, and pulls to the inside. Volokongan. There we go. Fana Spinoda holds off on track, let's say, Quantum, but Quantum goes back up into fifth place, and that's a hell of a drive from Quantum with the penalty as well. What else has happened? Misha is going to cross the line and maybe take the last point scoring position away from Samuel Barker in the process. Lawrence will get very close to point scoring positions, but won't get any because of the penalties. And Simba Rocks one, who I think has left the session quite early on, I say early on, towards the end of the session, just to not do anything, will come home in 14th place, just falls to the inside there. And it's great to see from Volokongan in the chat, apologising to Max as well for the incident. Yeah, that is the Australian Grand Prix over and done with. I wonder if I'm going to get the... It's gone to a black screen, unfortunately, so it doesn't look like I will get... Oh no, there we go. That's the podium there. Now, who do you think was driver of the day this afternoon? Or this evening?
I mean, there's, again, only really one big answer. Mr. Silo. Dominant win there from him. Very, very, very good drive. Honestly, I don't think you can really pick anyone else this. Obviously, there's been very strong comeback drives up and down the field, especially from the likes of Schumacher, Quantum, had that 10-second penalty as well from speeding. But Silo just in the lead pretty much the whole race, dominating. Yeah, my driver of the day.
Yeah, the game's given it towards there. But let's go down the order. It's Silo who takes victory with Tony Reich and Max van der Geest on the podium. Volokongan comes 4th, 5th to Quantum, 6th to Schumacher, 7th to Venom, 8th to Fana Spinoda, 9th towards, and rounding out the point scoring position with Misha. Then we had Samuel Barker, typical Lawrence, and Simba Rocks one finishing the Grand Prix, and no finishing for Dirk, Monza, Luca, Nico Castronovo, Kevin Zunneberg, or Ziawadi there, who couldn't really get into the race at all for them, unfortunately. Definitely a huge shout out for Venom there for driving with the damage that they had. But yeah, Silo, what a race. It's never really looked troubled, even when Tony managed to get past them through the turn 1-2 chicane. They just got back through, and then that was that.
Yeah, looks super comfortable on his end. I don't think once he just really looked back. I mean, obviously, we saw that Tony was hanging on in the wet, but when they came to the dry, no. I think that just completely changed. The dry has completely favoured Silo there, and it just made him more comfortable and just cruised, I think, to the win with a comfortable gap.
Yeah, a couple of different strategies on offer. That was interesting as well, wasn't it? Something that stumped us both. Some drivers going two-stop with Inter's dry. Some drivers going for a one-stop from Inter's dry. And some drivers going from Inter's dry to dry. It kept us guessing, didn't it?
Especially considering the fact it was still raining as well. And we're seeing people go on the slicks, That's definitely something you'd never see, I think, in real life and, well, normally anyway, in the game, which, that's completely thrown us off. But, that was interesting, though, to see, how people reacted to the change of grip Obviously, with not even DRS being enabled, going for that risk while it's still raining, it's quite something to do, and something to risk your race going completely wrong as well. We saw obviously Nico being the first one to jump onto the mediums. Didn't work great for him in the end, obviously retiring, and definitely going on the wrong tyre at the end. On the mediums at the wrong time, which meant he had to pit again, or just retired instead. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone just kind of saw what Nico was doing and his pace and was like, oh, well, you know what, let's just try it. Why not? These inters are not that good. Let's just go on the slicks and see how it goes. I think that's probably the mentality a lot of the strategists had.
Definitely seemed that way. Then next week, then it's the Austrian Grand Prix, where if you've ever seen an Austrian Grand Prix here in WOR, then you've always tell there is some sort of action to behold, whether it's a championship decider or now esports ready drivers in the name of Tom Manley having incidents with other drivers into turn 4. I remember that one quite well indeed. So that is next week. You'll be driving there next week yourself, won't you, in the PC side of things now?
Yep. On Monday then. PC tier 3, don't miss that though. It's getting close to championship. Well, I shouldn't be saying this during a consoles tier, but stream. But yeah, no. Back on this though, the championship. It doesn't look great now because Silo's just completely run away with it, I think, now. Dirk having 2 very, very difficult races. And, I'll be getting close for second, but first, it'll be interesting. But yeah, as you're saying, Austria always cooking up something great with track limits and aggressive driving. I remember the finale here in season 20 on F1 24, where Tech got that puncture on the last lap, costing him the championship. Very unfortunately, and Volokongan taking the win. But yeah, it's banger.
Yeah, it's a great race, and I didn't want to allude to that one. I've said the puncture line a lot this season, and I don't want to break poor Tech's heart because that was such a hard one to take. But Volokongan did take it and just showed how good they were with the life and tyre saving from that one. So yeah, as you've already alluded to as well, it's another 25 points to Silo, another 25 points advantage in the championship from what it was before. So it's a minimum of I think 27 points, which is absolutely incredible with 4 rounds remaining. It would need a big drop off now from Silo, but I don't think it's possible, is it?
No. Considering his form, winning 3 races in a row, you're not going to really have a great chance of beating him, let's say. Maybe he might, drop a little position or 2, but, 27 points lead, that's very, very comfortable with 4 rounds to go, considering he's won 3 races now. The real question is, can anyone now beat him in a race?
Time will tell. Maybe you can come. If it was Monaco next week, maybe you would come back and do it. But no, all joking aside, it was great to have you alongside me for this one. Have you got any final words for this? Well, for this stream?
Well, come back next week because it might get interesting then for P2. Obviously, with Volokongan coming back, but be there next week. And I said it. Be there. All right. Was it next week or next time? Is it we're racing next week?
Yeah, it's next week. We're racing next week.
It is next week, man. Yeah. So be there next week. Same time, same place, next week. All right?
There we go. And don't forget all the other action that we've got here in WOR. We've got the PC side of things, the other console races as well as Legacy Division on the Tuesday night. But for now, thank you so much for watching. It has been a very entertaining Austrian is next week, Grand Prix with a bit of wet coming in as well. But for now, we will catch you next week for the Austrian Grand Prix. Thank you and good night.